we back in the speakers, back in black, getting blasted in the bleachers. It's probably true what my mama said. I do it just like my daddy did. We back in the saddle, back on stage, making the whole place rattle. Back with the 18 train on the track. Thought we were gone, but you're wrong, now it's on.
Hey there, rock stars. Welcome to Nashville on the Rocks. I'm your host, Lisa Karkos, and on this episode, we have a special guest who is a top-tier drummer and percussionist based in Nashville and Los Angeles. His drumming is the heartbeat behind some of the biggest names in the music industry, from Jason Aldean to Carrie Underwood to Kelly Clarkson and beyond. With over 20 million sales and 21 number one hits under his belt, he's a true powerhouse in the industry. Not only does he rock out on stage to sold-out crowds worldwide, but he's also a sought-after motivational speaker, sharing his crash course for success with audiences everywhere. And let's not forget he's a podcaster too, hosting his own show. So grab a drink, kick back, and get ready to hear some amazing stories from our incredibly talented guest, Rich Redmond. All right. Hey, thank you, Rich, for coming on the podcast. Welcome to Nashville on the Rocks. This is very exciting. So today we have a very reputable, well-known drummer, and not only in the Nashville scene, but like really in
worldwide,
like, the worldwide. I know it's kind of weird to talk about that and think about that, but it's true. So we have Rich Redmond in the studio today. Rich, you are a very well-known drummer, most sought-after drummer. You're an author, a motivational speaker. You have your own podcast. You are a fellow podcaster.
That's right. I feel the pain. We have to support each other.
Yeah, like you know about all the ins and outs of everything. And and then you're an author too. So you've written a couple of books. Yeah. And I just think that that's great. And I definitely cannot wait to ask you all these questions and touch base on you. And we are a rock podcast. So
that's why I wore my leather today.
Right? I love it.
It's a little too hot right now for leather. We're almost there, but
we're almost to autumn, but we are, but not really. Like it's Nashville.
We just commit. We are slaves to fashion. We've got to tough it out.
Yeah, we're all in black today, man. I'm pretty proud of that fact.
Yeah, pretty much. You got your hat on. You know, I got my chains on. I had to cut the sleeves off this shirt. You know, but that's the way I roll. But like, I want to say that like it's really exciting to have you on the podcast and to kind of just pick at your brain a little bit more about like your background and everything you've done. Okay. So thank you for coming on the show. Let's just start out. You're from Connecticut originally?
Yes, I'm a Canetian.
And a Canetian, is that what they call it?
Or a Connecticutan?
A Connecticutan?
It's nice. But by way of Texas, I grew up there. I was like 11. I moved to El Paso, Texas. So kind of like culture shock. My dad got a job going across the border into Juarez, Mexico every day. He ran these factories, little ladies sewing Victoria's Secret. So I know Victoria's Secret. So does my dad. But that was great that we moved to Texas because, Texas is a vibrant music culture. You would never think that. But music education it's really one of the best states for music education because there's marching bands, tons of marching bands. Okay. And then when you have, because you got football and then the money trickles down and then you have great jazz bands and support for the arts. So I really benefited from that. And I've been here in Nashville 27 years. So. Yeah,
so that's crazy. So after pretty much you moved to Texas, did you just move straight? No, you were in LA for a while, right?
Well, LA came a little bit later on. I pretty much cut my teeth playing music in Texas. Okay. And after I graduated from the University of North Texas, which is this kind of like fun, famed jazz school.
Nice.
In Denton, Texas, which is this tiny little, town that's got just rich musical culture, and then Dallas is just like 30 minutes away. So I was playing jazz by day and then driving into Dallas at night to play funk and fusion and pop and that whole thing. And did that for a couple of years. You see the glass ceiling that most cities have, and then eventually you've got to get to a New York or an LA or a Nashville, at the very least a Miami, a Chicago, one of those. And for me it was even though I'm an East Coast kid, I can't imagine like hailing taxis and moving drum sets around subways and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's not for the faint of heart. So I was like, sunny LA. I had my sights set on sunny LA because I love the I love the sunny and 70 out there, and there's craning brontosaurus palm trees, looking down at you. But I got some auditions. I got a call to audition for Trisha Yearwood, which led to an audition with Dina Carter, which led to an audition with Trisha Yearwood, or Barbara Mandrell. And everybody was saying the same thing. Hey, kid, you sound great, but where do you live? And I was like, Dallas, Texas. And they were like, what? Right. So I was like, okay, gave my band 2 weeks notice, and I moved to Nashville. I knew very few people, but you move here, you start cold calling people in the yellow pages, you start to go to sit-in, open mics, you go down to Lower Broadway, and it just starts to happen.
Yeah. So wait, that's kind of crazy. Okay, so you've touched on a few points here. So let's kind of hit upon why did you choose drums in the first place? Like the music, aspect. Like I don't know what to think about that. Like I'm all about like beating on things and like trying to make sounds. Like I think that's great. I took drum lessons for a very short period of time. I loved it.
Yeah.
So was that something that you naturally gravitated to? Or
I think so. I think our instruments choose us. It's kind of like, it's almost like predestined. And it worked out great because I was beating on everything inside. I was 6 years old. It's 1976. Dinosaurs were roaming the earth, and my dad was like, "Let's get this kid some drum lessons." Secretly, my dad told me, I always wanted to play the drums.
He always wanted to play the drums.
So he got to live out his kind of rock and roll fantasy through his son.
The fact that you said that. It kind of tipped me off because I'm like, no parent gets their child a drum set unless they're really stoked about it.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to listen to that.
No, it's, they'll say like, here's the clarinet or the flute.
Yeah, exactly.
Those things are annoying too because you got to,
You also got to listen to that.
You got to try to get over the break on the clarinet, and that is painful. And, then you have to, prance around when you play the flute. I don't know. People are like, the drums, but you got to move the drums. I know, but I said, but once I set them up,
you're good.
I get to play.
You get to play
drums.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so before you even went to school for that, you were like, already sounds like music was, kind of in your thought process. So like, did you consider yourself like a country guy or a rock guy, or did you just love all of it?
I think I'm just a music guy. I just like find all the special things and the things that make each style of music its own language, okay. And I had some guys that I modeled myself after early on. There's this guy named Greg Bissonette. Everybody knows Greg Bissonette. He played with Satriani and David Lee Roth, and he plays that's him on all the interstitial music on Friends. Bing bom boo goo goo bom. What's up, Joey? I mean, so that's Greg, and so the guy can do anything. So I said, that's what I need to do. I need to be able to play Latin music, big band music, a small group jazz, fusion, Zappa style, odd time music, double bass, and then so country kind of came a little bit later. After I graduated from college, I was kicking around Dallas, and I played in kind of like a cool progressive pop country band called Ghost Town.
Okay.
And our steel player was a guy named Milo Deering, who is just basically, if in the state of Texas, if there's anything with a string on it, he gets the call. Like he's that guy. So it was fun. So that was my first exposure to like country music. And then when I moved here, I just went down to the Great Escape, and I got on cassette everyone's greatest hits, Tammy Wynette's, George Jones, and I just immersed myself in that language. So I said, hey, if I get an opportunity to go play the Grand Ole Opry, I won't feel like I won't have imposter syndrome because I can speak the language.
Yeah.
And that's the first step in playing any kind of music. You've got to learn the rules so you can break them. And luckily, I ended up meeting this forward-thinking singer-songwriter named Jason Aldean, and we ended up breaking rules. I mean, I remember when we were recording Hicktown, it was like, am I going to get kicked out of Nashville? I'm cracking rim shots. I had big 16-inch hi-hats, riding on the crash like Nickelback, just breaking sticks, drop D tuning, and I was like, we are getting kicked out. But it was cool because we moved the needle a little bit and gave permission to other people to do the thing.
Right.
And now we're where we are with country music.
Well, and you've been playing with Jason for like 25 years. 25 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so you started out with him, and I'm not familiar with this. Did he start like really kicking around in like 98?
98, he moved to town. 99, he got signed to a record deal with Capitol. That came to an end. That's when I started working with him, and for about 4.5 years, we did a million showcases. We played on demos. We jumped in vans. We played all over over the place. And then he ended up getting signed in 2004. We recorded the first record, put out the first single. And so 2004, what is that? 20 years of nonstop touring. And
That's
with
crazy.
the 4 years before it as the wind-up, or the 5 years before it. So...
Sure. So I've been listening to Jason Aldean for a long time. And so I actually, when I worked downtown, it was the first year I had moved to Nashville, it was 2015.
Yeah.
He did, and you probably were there, he did a show at Acme. It was like a VIP show.
Yes.
I don't know if it was like for his fan cult or base or whatever.
Yeah,
like it was small, invite only. And so my manager at the time was like, go take a break, go on up there. And I was like, so I got to go on the third floor and I got to check it out, and I have some old video of it somewhere.
That's when I discovered that, hey, this place has got this feed and seed place has got great sushi. It doesn't make sense.
No, it was like the first place on Broadway to have it.
That's when it was brand new, right? Acme Feed and Seed was kind of new,
that was the
right?
first year that it was. So they opened in 2014, and then I got in there in 2015. So I remember it was. I think it may have been for CMA Fest or something along those lines, where it was like, but it was like invite only. So I stayed up there for a couple songs, and I was just like, yeah, this is great. So it was so cool. So you being with him for a long time. So I think it's important that you brought that up to like the language, like music is music, but like really you're settling into a language, like if you're a jazz guy or a country guy or a metal guy or, prog metal or something, it's all about the nuances.
There's a vernacular, and there's also a kind of a culture and a secret society that's attached to all those things.
Sure.
But for drums, it's like the beautiful, it's rhythm, and then just tweaking little things here to fit into different situations.
Sure.
But I feel I'm very grateful, humbled by the experience that I get to, tour the world with my best friends, and I get to play on these records, recreate them live. The fans are all so ravenous. I feel like more than any kind of music, country music fans are so loyal. They will follow you to the grave, and like in pop music, it's a little bit more like, oh, what's the flavor of the week?
Right. Whatever comes through, whatever, I don't mean to say that, but however the ship steers or the wind that blows, what the cool trend is this time, now we're on it.
Yeah.
I could see that. All right. So, hey guys, just a reminder that if you really like what you hear, please subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Our audio is also available on iTunes and Spotify. Okay, now back to the podcast. All right.
Sweet. Good job, babe.
Oh, thank you. Oh, you just cut into that. Jesus Christ. You got more editing for yourself.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
To go off of that, with country fans being really loyal, now you have such a long list of people that you've played with. And I mean, Jason has been one of those people that sounds like you've stayed with him pretty much the entire time.
Yeah.
Now, is there someone else on your list that like you've also been playing? And that's going to lead into my next question. But like, is there someone else out there that you just think is like, depending on how busy you are, like if they call you, you're like, you know what, I got to go out with this person. I got to make this happen.
I would like to. I mean, we used to do 225 shows a year, which means we were gone 325 days a year in the early days. And then, as the popularity of the artists you play with grows, the shows get bigger, so you do less and less shows. So now we're on this beautiful trajectory where we do like 50 shows a year, and which is very manageable. And I find myself in town more. So it's for the freelance musician. You're looking at that iCal. There's a lot of white staring at you, and I always tell everybody, I got to fill this in. I got to spill some coffee beans on this and fill it in. It's always been great for me because I like to tour. I like to play local. I like to record, and I like to teach. And if you do all of those things, you'll never have a blank calendar. It'll always kind of fill in.
Sure.
But, the thing that's always kind of like nagging at me is like, I would love to have some sort of a cool, like indie pop or knuckle dragging kind of rock project that I can play, where we can play like Third and Lindsley like maybe 4 times a year and just pack it out and make it an event. The hardest part about doing that is finding the killer, amazing, charismatic, but not a jerk lead singer. You know what I mean? Because everybody that's like super qualified to do that in this town just wants a solo record deal. They don't want to be band guys, you know? So if you're listening and you're the super charismatic, sexy front guy, then, you know, hey, hit me up.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll make something happen.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you're going to get flooded now with emails and shit, man. You know what I'm saying?
We're opening the floodgates for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
But I like Wilco, like a band like Wilco. That's kind of like, I mean, obviously it's Jeff Tweedy's thing, right? But what a collective! It's such a creative, you know, unit that's blending genres, but somehow they are in the kind of Americana thing. That's my secret thing. I love Americana. I love the Steve Earles and the Mellencamp's and the Lucindas, and a lot of people wouldn't know that about me because I never get hired to do that stuff.
Well, that brings me to my next question. Like, when you have some downtime, like, what do you like? What really kind of, you know, does it for you? Yeah. Other than like, you know, in a different way that you don't get to do more.
Or you know what, Rich, like what gets you like nostalgic? Like when you listen to you just love this shit, you know, because it's from your childhood or whatever.
Well, for movies, it would be Ridley Scott's Alien, 1979.
Oh, one of the best horror movies ever, man.
Right, and so it's a horror movie in space, and then you know Jerry Goldsmith wrote the music. It was like incredibly creepy. It's just cinematic, and he also wrote the music to Planet of the Apes, very percussion heavy, you know. So it's a secret desire of mine I would love to be like an LA film score session musician. That would be amazing. But it's such a different path. It's like a lifetime commitment. Those guys do that. That's what they do. They go to work every day to do the thing. But secretly, if I had another life, if I had another 50 years, I would do that. And then musically, everyone's like, what are you listening to? You know, thank God, you know, with the algorithms and stuff with Spotify, you know, you listen to something you say, you might also like, you know, it's a great tool.
Right.
So that's one great thing about Spotify, because I drank the Kool-Aid. I don't have a CD player. I don't have a DVD player. I got rid of all my cassettes. I'm like one of the kids now. Like I'm just consuming music the way they do.
Yeah.
And it's a great thing because you can get turned on to new music, but I keep revisiting the Beatles, the Stones, the Who, the Led Zeppelin, my Mellencamp. I keep visiting the formative stuff. And then of course, you know, Van Halen,
the classic staples.
The Police were my gateway drug into the music business. Like Synchronicity dropped, and I was like, "Who is that drummer? And how can I do this with my life?" Watching MTV every day, fantasizing like, "Oh my God, I'm growing up in El Paso, Texas. How do I get that?
There? Yeah, how do you get there? How did they get there?
Yeah,
that's super exciting. So, what was your first? I always like to ask this question. When was your first concert or your first rock concert?
Well, I remember it's kind of cloudy, but my dad was so supportive, and he would drive me to nightclubs to take me to see. He took me to see Chuck Berry with my drum teacher on drums, because Chuck Berry always traveled around and hired local musicians. So my drum teacher got to play, you know what I mean, with Chuck, and that was great. And he took me to see the Maynard Ferguson Big Band. He took me to see Buddy Rich. He took me to see Van Halen. He took me to see Sting. I mean, we did a lot together. It was cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, my dad is super supportive parent. Oh, the funniest was him taking me to a club to see Carmine Appice's band. He had a band called King Cobra.
I remember those guys.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember those guys.
You know, there I was 4 feet from Carmine's bass drum. His bass drum just hit me in the chest. And of course all the waitresses are like wearing like fishnet hose and like chainmail, and my dad is like, "Where are we?" I was like, "That's all right, Dad, we'll make it." I had my Zildjian shirt on, you know, just like nerdo kid, you know. But
well, I love hearing the stories about that, and that kind of also, you know, makes me think that like when you're taking all that in and you're absorbing it, it's good to have some support system too. Yeah. So I mean, that's like such a gift to have. And I think one of the things that I notice is when I get to do these interviews with people is that more often than not, they come from super supportive families. Yeah. And so that sounds like that helps shape and form your career path. Like drumming is, I don't want to argue with you because it's your life, but it sounds like it's the biggest thing that you do, but then you have all these other things that you do. Yeah. And you're super, you know, busy, and you're super like involved, but you seem to bring 100% to everything that you do. So how did you kind of make that happen for yourself? are you one of those people that you need to have something to do and then you find what interests you and you go from it, or do you fall into it?
No, I'm very focused, laser focused, super methodical, highly organized, and lists of lists. And, what am I going to get done today? What do I have to get done by the end of the week? What am I doing this month? If I don't have my calendar, my life would fall apart. It's like, I got to look at it. It's all color coded and everything. But people will look at me and they'll be like, that's kind of a model for me. I want to do a lot of things, Rich, at a high level. I'm like, all right. But for many, many years, it was just drums. You get really great at something. And then when you get great at something, and then, as a drummer, we're only really as good as the people we're associated with, the act that we're playing with. If we're playing with a really hot act, then people are going, that's a great drummer. You know what I mean? It's so sad. I've seen some really great drummers playing clubs and playing weddings. But as drummers, you need to have that association. You know, it's like every time we're listed in a magazine or something, then they have to have the parentheses. The artist that we play with, right?
So they know who you are.
We're guilty by association. So I just really focused on that for many years. And like I said, I always had a teacher's heart. I was always very passionate about music education. I knew I wanted to record, so I got really busy working on a lot of styles, working on reading, playing with click tracks and loops and all that kind of stuff. And then in my later years, I was like, okay, I got the gift of gab. So that kind of turned into drum clinics. And then one day I knew I was always going to be a motivational speaker. I just knew it because my mom had this amazing library, all the law of attraction type books, the law of success, Napoleon Hill, Tony Robbins. So I was consuming that stuff as a young man, and it kind of seeped into my DNA, and I started sprinkling it in a little bit into my drum clinics. And then one day I had a friend of mine, Anthony Grady, came to one of my clinics, and he said, man, I work for Cisco. This is like a company that basically, they call them the plumbers of the internet. They basically run the internet. And the whole internet would fall apart without these guys, Cisco. So he goes, well, we're doing a big corporate meeting, and I think a lot of the things that you talk about have a universal appeal, and they would be really hit in corporate America. Plus, you're a drummer. People love the drums. It's a great way to break the ice. And I said, exactly. I got this offering. It's called Crash Course for Success. CRASH is an acronym, stands for commitment, relationships, attitude, skill, hunger. This concept can help people in any career track and any season of their life. And I presented at Cisco, and then he hired me another 14 times for events for their top 10 performing leaders, and all the way to the big global convention that they have in Vegas, where 800 people with language barriers and everything are there, and I'm doing the rah-rah. But it's fun. So I always knew that I would do that, and I'm doing it. Now it's part of my offering. And then I said, you know what? I always wanted to act. I always knew that. So I'm teaching at the Drum Channel in Oxnard, California one day, and the director and the cameraman said, Rich, you ever thought about being an actor? And I said, absolutely. I've seen every freaking episode of Three's Company about 50 times. And I said, I don't need to be Jack Tripper. I can be Larry. I'm happy to be Larry. Just get me on the screen. Give me one line. We get paid the same.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
You'll make it a
16
good line.
pages of dialogue or one page of dialogue. You're making the same amount of money. So I said, yeah, I'd love to do it. He says, well, I got a horror film we're shooting. It's called Reawakened. You would be this great detective. I said, I would be this great detective. And, so I just jumped headfirst into that thing. And
I was not aware of this. I knew you did the voiceover, so I didn't know that you were on film. So can I find this horror film? Can I watch it?
There's a film called Reawakened. That was the first one, and I think it went straight to your pay-per-view in a Chinese hotel room.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then the next one I did was a movie called All Light Will End, which you could probably find on Netflix or Amazon, and I played a Casey Kasem style over-caffeinated DJ. Which is right in my lane. And then I was on a television show called Happy on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Okay.
And Patton Oswalt voiced this little animated unicorn, which was cool because it was a genre blend. It was
I love him.
Real action and
animation too.
Animation. And then I got to kick the heck out of Christopher Maloney, the brawny guy from SVU.
Yep.
So I got to swim in these waters, and it was really intoxicating. And I still want to do it.
Yeah.
But most actors, they audition about 80 times a year to land one thing. Right. And I can't do 80 auditions a year. So
you're busy.
Yeah. So I figured after all these years, it's the cherry on my creative pie. So, now in this season of my life, I'm like, what are my things that I really, really enjoy? Because I'm trying to smell the roses more. It's like, well, I like to tour with my band. I like to record, and I like to teach. And so that's kind of like my big holy trinity right now.
Sure.
You know?
Well, it's fascinating because just the amount of like creativeness that's flowing from that, I know that there's so many people that like get into this industry, the entertainment industry, and I think that's the goal. They want to be siphoning that, they want that through them and coming around. And so I think that you've kind of nailed that.
And before you got here, I was telling Lisa, I'm like, there's no way that you don't have all those skills you just rattled off, man. You got to be a people person. You have to be wicked organized and totally ambitious and just positive and a cool hang. Talented, of course.
Oh, man.
But it's like, I'm just telling you, man. It's just like...
You guys are making me feel great.
Well, I'm telling you, man. I'm feeling inspired, man.
I love it.
To hear you talk about like this type of stuff and what's possible for people out there if they kind of have their ducks in a row. But yeah.
Well, that's true. Because
now we got to work together.
Right?
There's a set of drums, folks, 12 feet from here.
Dude, I'm glad you brought it up, man, so I wouldn't be weird. I'm like, dude, hop on the drums. Come over whenever you want.
Right. We'll do a little TikTok reel or whatever, which, by the way, are you on TikTok?
I was like, I'm not doing it. And I finally
did it.
I just found you on there
it's
today.
so slow. And then I got to say, my co-host, longtime friend, we've been friends for 18 years, my co-host, Jim McCarthy. He's a voiceover artist. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's a podcast producer. He produced this 20 podcasts. This guy is like a new medium.
He's also very busy.
He's a busy guy, but he said, Rich, we really need to do this, and you're not doing it, so I'm going to do it for you. So he created a Rich Redmond Show TikTok and Instagram yesterday.
Nice.
It is so humbling to start at the ground level and go, I got 12 followers.
I found you today because you popped up as I didn't want to go on the TikTok train either, and then I was like, oh God. So, but I'm in it, and I'm learning more about it, and it's actually kind of fun. And so you popped up on there. It was like the Rich Redmond Show, and I was like, oh, I guess TikTok knows what's up with me today. And I like clicked.
It's reading our minds. Yeah, I mean, this Siri girl, she needs to step off, man.
And then the Alexa girl too, man. I have the same problem.
Dude,
with
Alexa. Two groups of people have bought me Alexas. I have never taken them out of the box because she's really listening.
I know she's listening.
You have to go through a lot of weird steps to turn the functions off, and it defeats the whole purpose. To me, it's like a whole. I think Amazon came up with that as a way to figure out our buying patterns.
Oh, I'm 100% sure. They're like, oh, have you been talking about, I don't know.
I heard about that shit.
This toothpaste or whatever.
Yep.
Here's an ad for it. 100%.
Yep.
The only thing about Alexa is I just like to turn the camera off. I'm like, you don't need to be here.
Yeah, come on.
Get out of
Who's
here.
on the other end,
It's no.
like horrible.
Well, I think what we should do right now is take a quick break. We're going to get some tools together, which comes to one of my favorite parts of the show. I'm going to teach you how to make a drink.
Mixology.
Yeah, of sorts. I don't like to consider myself a mixologist because I feel like that comes with like a mustache and a lot of attitude. Skinny jeans.
Yes.
I got the tattoos, but but for you today, we're actually going to do a mocktail.
Great.
And this is awesome because I have a few great mocktails up my sleeve. So you strike me as someone who, as we've talked about already, like you're focused, you're dedicated, you like to jump right in. So I'm not going to give you anything too hard.
Okay.
But it's going to be fun.
Yeah, great.
All right, so we'll take a couple minutes. I'll get some tools together and we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Clayton Kidd, and you are watching or listening to Nashville on the Rocks.
Okay, so we are back and we have all of the tools in front of us and actually brought a few extra little variations because maybe this would be kind of cool if we made a couple of different versions.
Sure, yeah.
There's so many things. Okay, so what we're going to do is I've washed my hands, which is good because I'm a germaphobe, so I want to say that in advance. So I'm going to put ice into these tins and we're going to shake this cocktail. We probably could build it, but you're a percussionist and I just think it'd be more fun if we shake it. Yeah, we're going to shake it. So we're going to take the big tins right here.
Oh, let me remind you, Rich, you got to bring that microphone back to it. Yeah, just so you're like if you're talking to the mic and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We can cut that part of it. And then you can always adjust this if you want to bring it towards you and whatnot, because I find myself having to do that too. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to have I'm going to build a drink for Dan and me because just easier. And then, okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a drink for you two, and I'm going to have the drink that you make.
Okay.
All right. So it'll be extra good. Okay. So let's get this down ahead of time. Put all the ice out. So I won't have to touch it anymore.
Love it.
I know. One of these days, we need to get like glasses that are all the same because we still have mixed mashed glasses, but that's cool.
And babe, you're going to be like telling the audience, right?
Okay, all right. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to take the large set of tins. We're going to put the ice in them. And then after that, you're going to take this one. I'll take this one. We take the jiggers. And so are you familiar with this tool?
I'm familiar with it.
Or you've seen people use them,
I usually,
right?
like try to blow them.
Okay. it looks like a little bugle or whatever. Okay, guys. So for those of you that are listening at home, we're going to walk you through this. For those of you that are watching Nashville on the Rocks, you are going to be able to see it all happening. So Rich, you're going to take this.
Fantastic.
This is a jigger. This is a measurement of 2 ounces.
2 ounces, okay.
And then on this side, it's 1 ounce. And then you're going to see like little lines in there. Mm-hmm. And that's for like 3/4 of an ounce, 1/2 ounce, you know. So it's kind of interesting to look in it. So because we are making a mocktail today, we're gonna be using the Seed Lip. This is a distilled non-alcoholic spirit. So it's made in the UK. We have partnered with them. They are pretty cool. We have 2 different kinds. So we have the garden variety of the 108, and then we have the Grove 43, which I haven't used this one yet. So this is going to be super exciting. We're going to do 2 of them. Yes. So because I've already tried this one, we're going to use this one right now. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So
the citrusy
cool.
one.
The citrusy one. And I have a couple of different variety of tonic waters here and some ginger beer. So we're going to mix it up. So, okay. So I'm obviously going to be doubling what the recipe. So what we're going to do is take our jigger, and I'm going to fill this up with 2 ounces right off the bat, which means you're going to be using an ounce. Okay, so I'm going to hand this to you. So you're going to take your jigger, you're going to pour it into the ice.
Okay.
So
am I doing this small side?
You're going to do the small side. Okay. Perfect. And you're going to fill it all the way up to the top, which is going to be 1 ounce, the very top, tippy top. Keep going. To the top.
Straight to the top.
Straight to the top. Okay, now pour it in to the tin. Fantastic. That was an excellent job. Okay.
That's our controlled pour.
Yes, that's a controlled pour. So what we're going to do now is take this freshly squeezed lemon juice, and I'm going to put 1 ounce in. So I'm going to take the jigger on the other side for people that are listening at home and filling this up to the tippy top and pouring it into the tin. And then Rich, you're going to fill this halfway. Yes.
This is good for my...
your eyesight?
No,
your
my bladder for kidney stone prevention.
There you go. Yeah,
there you go.
Lemon juice.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, from there, now we're not putting anything else into this cocktail, so it's done. Everything's in the tin already. Yeah, we're gonna add stuff afterwards because it's bad to mix anything with bubbles in a tin and shake it because it'll explode in your face. No one wants that.
Okay.
Especially not all over your nice leather. Okay. So we're gonna take the smaller tin and we're gonna put it in the big tin. Right there. You get a nice little seal on it, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So now for
is that sealed?
That is sealed.
Okay.
Yes, you're gonna feel it because if it's like this shaking, then not. You're gonna make that seal on it. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna shake it. We're gonna shake this for about like 15 seconds, and
put on a click.
Yeah. 1,
what
2.
BPM you want?
Yeah, you gotta count us off. Okay, we're gonna have fun with this. Ready, go. Like this, up and down.
8 notes. We're shuffling now.
That's why it's good to have drummers doing
the beautiful paper. The beautiful paper.
That's a shuffle. Ain't that a shuffle?
The beautiful paper. Shuffles are dead, man. We're keeping them alive.
I love it. Has it been 15 seconds?
Yeah, probably.
It's getting cold. Do you feel it get cold?
Dun, 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 dun.
I think we're good. Okay, so
Great.
you see how this is like frozen, right?
Ooh,
it's cold,
that's
right?
Great.
Yeah, so what you're gonna do now is you can take it and it might click for you and open, and if it doesn't, just karate chop the side a little bit. It did, perfect. Oh my God, that was incredible.
I'm natural. Watch out, Tom Cruise.
Right.
Usually people get stuck on that part,
I know,
they can't
even
get it
me.
apart.
and I'm supposed to be a professional or
So
something.
now what?
So you're going to take the strainer.
Yep.
Okay, you put it on the top.
Yep.
Okay, now we're going to strain this cocktail into this glass. Okay, so you're making one for me. I'm going to take this smaller one. Okay, so, and I'm going to be pouring 2. So for those of you that are listening, grab your shakers at home and pour it right into your glass. Rich, you can pour the whole thing in there.
Love it.
Yeah, good. Pour the whole thing. Okay,
I'm going to get a side gig at Brick Tops.
there you go.
Happy hour. I mean, there's some good clientele in there, guys.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's in a good location in Green Hills.
There we go.
Awesome. So we are done with this part. We're going to discard that, put it over here. Now we have the cocktail here. So tell me,
That was so satisfying. Usually,
so satisfying.
I'm a mixologist in my band, but I just use 2 solo cups.
That solo mix. Oh, yeah, because when you're backstage, you don't always have something to mix it with.
Yeah.
I get that. So we have 2 types of tonic water here, and I love both of them. One is an Indian tonic water, one is the Mediterranean. So they're both by Fever Tree. I'm just going to pick one.
Good.
And we're going to do it, okay?
It's part of our Mediterranean diet.
Yeah, let's just make it happen. I'm going to pour, ooh, the bubblies. I'm going to pour this a little bit of the way. And then,
Love it.
don't mind me, I'm just going to pour that right in there.
Yeah.
Okay?
And then we mix with our finger, right?
Yeah, we're going to mix with the whole finger. Actually, I have a bar spoon for you if you
is
would
great.
like to stir it a little bit, sir. So this
Love it.
is kind of fun too, because not only are we shaking, I'm teaching you how to use a spoon, okay? So we'll just
It's pretty fancy.
stir it.
Oh, I like that.
Look at, you're already there, like the fanciness.
Ooh.
You're a pro already.
I'm going clockwise. Now, if I go counterclockwise, is to change the taste?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, do we go backwards? Does the whole thing go backwards?
That is cool.
It is cool. All right, so we're gonna add a lemon because we use lemon in the cocktail. So we're
Yeah.
just gonna
Pop
put a
it in.
lemon in there, and we'll pop a lemon in yours. I cut extra lemon slices, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think I was just afraid we wouldn't have enough lemon juice.
It's going to be very refreshing on a Friday afternoon.
But yeah, it is Friday.
it
Shit,
Friday?
feels like Saturday. Okay, here, you're gonna take this. Okay, I'm gonna take yours, and we're gonna do a switcheroo. Dan's gonna take mine.
Yeah.
All right, thanks. I didn't even
Okay.
earn this, but thank you.
Very nice.
Good,
I feel
cheers.
so great. Cheers,
What's
Darren.
up?
Pleasure to meet you guys.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
you're leaving me hanging.
I'm
sorry,
definitely.
babe.
I'm moving. So my new place, I want to have a wet bar. I think it'd
my
be fun
God.
for my guests and
No,
really get into it.
Really get into it. There's so much fun stuff you can do.
Oh, this
All
is
right,
good.
Cheers.
That is refreshing, babe.
Very nice.
Oh, the citrus is good.
Yeah.
I like this better. Okay, so not to say that I don't like the garden, but it's good if you have like the seed lip, the 108, the garden one with the green label. It's really nice if you have like rosemary and herbs and thyme with it. This is nice too because this is the Grove 42, and I think it goes really nicely with this tonic water. It tastes
Yeah.
really natural. So it's like a fresh, crisp mocktail. And we mentioned this briefly when we were taking a break that like a lot of people are going like no alcohol lately or
Yep.
taking longer breaks.
Yeah.
And the thing that I saw before COVID is I say this every time is that there was menus were starting to develop like places on the menu for non-alcoholic drinks.
Yeah.
And I like it too because as someone who likes to go out and see a lot of shows, like I want to be careful about like
Driving and stuff. Yeah.
or like even if I don't feel like it, if I have to work in the morning or whatnot the next day. And like I found a couple of nice like non-alcoholic like spritzers in cans, cocktails, mocktails in cans.
Have
or
you guys
whatever.
tried the Athletic Brewing non-alcoholic beer? It's like all the rage. It's like the #1 non-alcoholic beer brand now. They've got an IPA that tastes pretty darn good.
Pretty good?
Especially if it's really cold. It's only 60 calories.
Really?
You just pound them like a dang redneck, you know?
No shit. Never heard of that,
I've
though.
never heard of the. Wait, you said it's athletic?
Athletic Brewing, yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna check it out.
They've got a lager, a IPA, and then some sort of other IPA.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some good ones out there. We get more all the time. So we always have to make sure that we have them in stock because we sell a lot of them. Even the people that drink, sometimes like if they're coming in from work and they just want to get like a beer or whatever and they can't drink, or like, you give me a
NA.
non-alcoholic beer. And I'm like, okay.
I mean, it used to be that all we had was O'Doul's, and
yes.
and don't drink that at room temperature.
No, it's not.
Hideous.
Whatever, yeah, I know. And there's so many different varieties now, which I love that. So, all right, cheers. Thank you for coming on the show. And we're going to dive
Cheers.
into some more questions.
I love it.
Yeah, let's do it.
And we just came out from making a killer mocktail. I liked the MARILYN Manson in there too. That made me really happy. It made my like inner teen heart just explode with that, which I saw him for the first time ever like 10 years ago or 9 years ago, and he played at Ascend. It was one of the first year that Ascend was open, so it may have been 9 years ago, but I thought he put on a great show. But,
I saw him at the Chateau Marmont. I was dining there one night, and he walked in, and he was some super fan was on him like a fly on you know what, and that fan got kicked out.
Of course they did.
Yeah.
They're like, that's too much. They're like, be cool, dude.
Yeah.
Be cool.
And speaking of that MARILYN Manson reference that we've made, we were talking about a shuffle beat, weren't we?
Yeah.
Right? And like I made this. I noticed this before. I feel like a shuffle beat is always a hit maker. You're saying like nobody writes with the shuffle now, or
it's like it's definitely dead right now. I mean, Carrie Underwood's got a couple of like power shuffles, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's the last time you heard like a Big Bad Leroy Brown on the radio?
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. But I swear to God, anytime I hear a shuffle beat, I always feel like it's going to be a hit. Like I just think about all the songs like what's that one old song by Cell, that Soft Cell? That was kind of like a shuffle beat, right? Wasn't it? Yeah. Right?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I just
used
thought
to play that in the Spasmatics.
Any bands out there writing songs, man, write one with a shuffle beat. You're gonna go to number one.
That's right.
Yeah,
right.
it's gonna be really good. It needs to come back. Actually, I just met Jacoby Shaddix like last month, and he was here doing a song with Carrie Underwood.
Huh?
Yeah. So he said that was coming out, and he's like, "Oh man, Carrie's just like us, man. She's a rocker chick. She's a metalhead." And I was like, I love it. I wouldn't see that, but she does have a couple of shows like takeovers on Sirius and stuff like that for Octane. He's like, oh yeah, huge rocker.
And
huge
Rich, you play with her, right?
Yeah.
Yes, because we have that big duet with her and Jason.
That's right. Okay.
And then every night on tour, we can't take her with us, so she's on the giant video screen behind us.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
No
so
shit.
funny.
She's all glammed up and
Is she
dressed up.
singing from wherever she is?
She's on Pro Tools.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a cool workaround, huh?
Yeah.
It's convenient. People can do that nowadays.
We did it with Kelly Clarkson too. Yeah.
Oh, I love that song. That was such a good song. So I want to, talking about your drums, let's hit a couple of other things here too. So the motivational speaking, when did you start getting into that?
Oh God, it's been like probably 15 years.
Okay, so you've been doing it for several years now. And your podcast, did that come out during COVID?
A little bit before COVID, because my co-producer, co-host Jim McCarthy, we were doing it at my crib in my studio where I track my drums, much like this, and it was kind of cool, and then COVID hit, and I went through COVID in Los Angeles, and he was in Nashville, and so we just zoomed,
Yeah,
like everyone. And then now that everything has died down and the world is back, I love it. We do it at his podcast studio in Spring Hill, which is fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I love it. And you're on like what, episode 1?
It's coming up on 200. It's like 190 or something. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I was listening to a different episode, but I was like really impressed. I was like, so do you guys kind of do the same thing like you do?
We try to batch them up. Like, hey, let's knock out 3 today, and you're all exhausted afterwards. But then you got 3 in the can, and you can kind of coast for a while.
And you can just chill and get on to the other parts of your life that also need, to be tended to. So
yeah, people don't really understand how it's you've got to book the talent, you've got to send them the Zoom links, you've got to research the talent, then you have to do the thing, and then you have to edit it, and then you have to pull the clips, and it's like a full-time job. I mean, it really is.
It's like a full-time job. Since we've started doing this, like I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, I pretty much work another full-time job, and so does Dan. So that's
but it's fun because you guys are going to go down in infamy, because you are recording these conversations for all time. They become kind of like little historical nuggets.
I love that. That was one of the things that we had talked about. It was really
I love
fun
the
to do
idea.
that.
I like that idea that we're just kind of creating a little legacy.
It's forever. I mean,
especially together. So I mean, that's really nice with it. So for your podcast now, how did you get into doing voiceover work?
Well, I've trained, but it's not something, like I said, it's another cherry on my creative pie.
Yeah.
So I'll do things like my cymbal companies or my drum companies will like, hey kid, we'll throw you a couple another, expensive pies if you knock out this voiceover for us, like Sabian cymbals, so I'll do ads for them and that kind of stuff. And, I had aspirations like, hey, maybe I can be a cartoon voiceover guy. Mark Hamill, he played Luke Skywalker,
Yes.
Right.
He has 100 voices. And he was like, I don't need to be on camera anymore. He has the ability to manipulate his. I can't compete with that. You know what I mean? I'm a drummer who's got the gift of gab, and if somebody calls me to knock out some copy, I could do it.
You could do it.
Yeah.
But that's the cool thing about like voiceover work is there's so many different varieties. So like, there's audiobooks, there's little commercials, like everybody automatically thinks of cartoons. But it's so funny. The people that like have that niche, I understand that because Mark Hamill does do like quite a few like
cartoons, anime,
and it's kind of interesting because he's got a whole career that like no one ever sees his face.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And that's, and we always used to have a joke about like drummers and bass players, because it's like bass players like never want to be seen. Like they never want to get on the mic. They never want to do anything. But
you never met my bass player.
Oh.
You kidding me? He wants to be seen.
He's all the time.
It takes 3 hours to fix his hair.
You should have been the singer, man.
Right?
What the hell?
But all the drummers were like, oh my God, give the drummer the mic. The mic check, it's going to be like, we would give our drummer like a mic and he'd be like just talking to everybody. And I'm like, they just don't get enough attention back there
we're
behind
buried
the
in
kids.
the back. Man.
Yeah. I'm like, that's just so crazy. But I love how you do all of it because putting it out there, it's just really cool. It just shows that there's so many different sides of you.
Well, I appreciate it. There's when I watch TV, like I'm following a storyline, but I'm also listening for the music from the composer. I'm listening to when I watch commercials. I'm studying the actors.
Yeah.
I'm listening to voiceovers.
Yep.
So my thing is just I love I love showbiz.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like somebody was asking me about it. It's like my favorite thing is like anytime I would go to Los Angeles, my band like couldn't wait to get home, and I was like, I never want to come home. I am out here with the palm trees. I just played the Ellen show. You're backstage. He's got incredible snacks back there, and there's a guy with a headset mic, and he's like, places people 5 minutes, and you go and there's a curtain and you get on the drums and like 3 minutes, folks, and 3 minutes, and watch me, Rich, watch me. 5, 4, 3, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, our next artist is like, you kick it off. I love show business. I mean, there's no other business I want to be in, Hollywood. I mean, I love it. I just love showbiz.
It comes across in your enthusiasm for one, and just two, like it's a lot of fun. It's like what other business can you just like have that much fun with people and play all day?
We have a great life. Someone told me, because we can kind of like get not
complacent.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, but it's easy to do it if you're doing all this every day. Yeah. And someone said, you have a great life, because it's not like we have to get up and like dig ditches or hammer, sledgehammers or no, we're not in a cubicle, getting the phosphorescent tan. I don't have to make copies, but I've done all those things. I've parked cars. I was a substitute teacher, waited a lot of tables, did data entry.
Oh, I love it.
All the stuff, you know. So I love my job.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, you have like one job, but it's really like 5 jobs like into one. But that's a part of like a drummer too. Like you got to like juggle every like skin, every like snare, and now you're juggling just a bunch of other things. We're doing
like 4 things at the same time. Yep. There's a heavy connection between the head and the heart, and it is a beautiful instrument. It's a young instrument. It's only been around about 100 years. If you think about it. Yeah,
that's kind of crazy. Do you have any advice for people that are starting out? Okay, because let me back it up. Your enthusiasm really shines through so much that like a lot of people I think get really kind of jaded before they even get going,
Yeah.
And so what is your kind of advice that you would offer someone about, and I'm sure we're going to have to cut some of this.
You're doing great.
Well, I'm trying to think of what I want to say without sounding like too simplistic about it, but I'm sure it doesn't. Okay, so what is your advice that you would give someone? Because I'm sure that it has, if I could imagine, it has more to do with maybe your attitude than it, or just as much with your attitude as about how you practice and everything else too.
Well, all the things are true. Practice makes perfect. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. All that stuff is true, but attitude and enthusiasm are a big deal in life. Why I tell everybody, why does every motivational speaker in the world talk about attitude? Because it's like 99% of life, because, it takes twice as much energy to formulate, cultivate, maintain negative thought. Yeah. So why do we even do it? I just try to stay in the land of tell people unicorns and rainbows. And now, but I'm a human being. I get up on the wrong side of the bed. I have bad days. There's stresses in my life. Everybody's going through something, but there's techniques that you can use to change the channel, which is for me is people. I'm a people person. I never met a stranger. COVID just about killed me because I'm the kind of guy that kisses my male friends on the cheeks. I love people. I'm a hugger. I'll go for a hug before a handshake, and it's always really funny when you go to hug somebody and they're not a hugger. And they tense up and you're like, oh, okay, there's the handshake.
But just kidding. It was all
so birds of a feather, like people make the world go around. They're the gatekeepers for anything you want to do in life. And if you surround yourself with like-minded people, like a good band is like birds of a feather flock together. A good band is like that. And then also, I love colorful food. I love exercise. I love reading. I love films. I love fashion. Having things that you could go to that will help you kind of reset the channel mentally. You know what I mean? Because it really is about our attitude. It's not what's happening to us, but it's how we react to the things that happen to us. So. But it is practice. You got to practice. You got to get your 10,000 hours in as a bare minimum. So when people are talking about 10,000 hours, we're talking about practicing 8 hours a day, 7 days a week for about 6.5 years. And I look back at things, and I've been playing drums since 1976 with a high intensity, a lot of passion. So I have tens of thousands of hours. Yeah. And then a lot of times we don't really grow our necessary musical skills until we're in a room with other people. And then that's when we get yelled at. You're too loud. You're too soft. You're too fast. You're too slow. And it really is that bedside manner that you have with people that can determine you being a success or failure in your chosen field.
Sure. I think I wish that more people understood that. You know what I mean? Because that goes across a lot of things. Well, Dan, do you have any questions for Rich?
No, well, you know what? Probably a ton, man. And I don't want to take up too much of the time, but I'm
good.
just curious.
Friday night, man.
Like when you wake up in the morning, man, I'm trying to simplify the question, but when you wake up in the morning, man, what is on your mind? Like, is there a mantra on your mind? Like
coffee.
Is it like exercise in the morning first, then you start thinking about what you need to do? Like
on a perfect day, great advice for anybody: put yourself first before anyone else, because the day's going to get away from you. So on a perfect day, like on the road, it's a fantastic. If I don't have to do a drum clinic or whatever, I will get up and I'll go right to that gym.
Okay.
And then if even I can't get to a gym, say we're playing some festival in the middle of nowhere, and the nearest Planet Fitness is 45 minutes away, I'm not going to do that. Under the bay of the bus, I've got bands, ropes, weights, BOSUs, yoga mat, a bench, all this stuff, so you can get a nice prison workout in. I got an app where you can get a body weight circuit in. And I just, in my later years, my whole life, I kind of like my weight was up and down, or my experimenting with my diet, and I finally in my 50s I locked it in where it's like flexibility, mobility, putting heavy objects over my head, working my heart, paying attention to my diet, which is somewhere between a Mediterranean diet and a paleo diet. And then I'm also human, so if I want that, if I'm at my mom's house and she's got bread, I'm eating my mom's bread. You know what I mean? So having a system or rules in place for yourself is a great thing, but then also not taking yourself so seriously and being able to live your life too, I think is a good thing. But no, the first thing I do is coffee, and then I just, every day, that's what's so great about my life, is that every day is different. It's not like I'm just a bona fide session player where Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. I'm reading a number chart. I love doing it, but I don't do it every single day.
Understandable.
So, so every day is just a fun new thing.
Oh, I love that. And it's great that you said the thing that I am seeing about you too is that like you've embraced a lot of technology. You know, I mean, I use my app for like fitness stuff too, but it's like I also see people like shy away from that, you know, as they, you know, because things have changed so much. So I think adapting to that and just getting the good stuff out of it is important too.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, the phone is crazy. I mean, there's like, this is everything.
Yeah, I know.
It's all right in there.
It has everything there. Your mini computer.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and you definitely have to kind of take the technology as it comes, man, or you can get lost behind quick, man, and then you get intimidated by how things work, and the next thing you know, you know, you don't know how to use a DVD player or you're back in the
I have no
VHS
DVD players.
You don't know how to turn
Remember
on the
those
TV.
things?
I love when people give me CDs, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
MP4s.
How do I play this?
they don't make cars with them anymore.
Yeah.
They don't. You'd have to buy some old used computer.
Right.
Check out my Dell from 99. It's
The Dell, I ordered one of those, my first computer.
big
man, I
old
remember.
thick.
Yeah,
brick of a
everybody
computer.
had
Remember
a
that?
Dell. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I had one in 2001 when I was in college.
Yeah, me too.
I just dated myself. Oh well.
Wow.
Oh my God, that's so funny. But
That's great.
so is there anything you want to talk about coming up? Do you have anything? So when we air this, I think we're a couple weeks out. So maybe in November. Do you have any things on the horizon for the end of the year?
This is kind of like, it's funny. This is what my band and I call surgery season. So we're in the off season.
Nice.
So this is where we get all glued back together. So it's like we fix our meniscuses or our hernias or our rotator cuffs and it's funny. This season, my band has no surgeries. We're rocking.
Good.
I mean, we are rocking. But this is a time of year where I double down on education. So not to be too promosexual, but I have a friend of mine who calls me a promosexual.
Promosexual.
I'm always promoting something. So I was like, all right, I'll just take it as a compliment. I do a lot of what I call my drum intensive. So it's a 7-hour day with me. So people fly in from around the country and they spend a 7-hour day with me over at Drum Paradise, which is this amazing, drum cartage place. And upstairs is this place called the Drum Pad. It's awesome. 2 drum sets. You can eat off the floor. They come in, they send their girlfriend or their wife to Green Hills to go shopping.
Go hang out.
Here's the credit card. And then they spend that time with me. We do 3 hours in the morning. I treat them to a nice lunch, and then we do another 3 hours in the afternoon. And we address all their questions and concerns about how to be a more marketable commercial drummer. Like, how can they make a living playing the instrument? And we address all their questions and concerns, and then we dive into my curriculum. And I really focus on, reading music, being able to write charts, reading the Nashville number system, playing styles, coordination, overdubbing percussion, playing with loops, like all the skill sets they're going to need to figure out how to do this thing.
Sure.
So I love that. And it's been my most popular offering like lately. So it's nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
I feel like that's a great downtime. It's much better than a surgery.
Yeah, you get to hang with other drummers. You get to affect people in a positive way. You get to change their lives. You make lifelong friends, you know, and there's no downside to it.
Oh, that's awesome. So when's the next time you're out with Jason?
Well, I'm going to see him next Wednesday because his wife Brittany has a golf tournament. So we do a lot of events where we play acoustic, and so that's where I get to be a percussionist, and I usually play cajones or djembes or that kind of stuff, and you just try to make it sound like a drum set, which is fun, and it's super portable and easy to mic. So we'll be doing that, and then at the end of the month we're recording his 12th record, so we'll do that in probably 4 sessions. Like, a lot of people don't know that. We do one song every 90 minutes. So in a 6-hour day, we'll do 4 songs.
Okay.
So the record is done in 4 days.
Well, you guys are that locked in.
Wow. It's crazy.
Well, you have that when you've been playing together for that long.
Yeah.
And you're operating at that level and you can read each other that much. You know what to expect from that person.
Yeah, so
that's great.
I'm excited.
Oh my God.
Awesome, man.
I'm excited about it.
Very cool.
And then I'm going to come here and start recording with you.
Oh my God, dude. I'd be honored, man. You can come here, hang out with all the pretty lights, and we'll hit the record button.
Yeah,
see what happens,
right. Well, oh my God, we got a disco ball with the drum. In the drum room. So
Every studio needs a disco ball and a lava lamp.
Yeah.
We got one of those too.
We got one of those too. When we put
broke.
a disco ball right above, or is it still up there? We'll find out. We'll turn on the lights. We'll find out.
It's over there.
All right, Rich, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
This is amazing.
Cheers.
You did fantastic making this cocktail.
Thanks,
We'll
man.
be in touch with you soon. And everybody look out to see Rich Redmond. Check out richredmond.com and check out the Rich Redmond podcast. Okay. We'll see you
Right
next
on.
time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Nashville on the Rocks. We're so grateful for your support. If you're enjoying our content, we'd love it if you could hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow us on social media and give us a like on iTunes, Spotify, and all your other go-to streaming sites. Your feedback is super important to us, so please leave us a review as well. Thanks so much.